Carl Jung showed us that life is much more than a series of disconnected events. Every experience we live, every person we meet, every challenge we face is part of an intricate system of meanings. What seems like a coincidence isn't one. Jung invites us to look beyond the surface, to discover the hidden patterns that connect our inner world with what happens outside. You've probably felt at some point that something in your life had a deeper purpose, but you couldn't explain it. Maybe it was a chance encounter with someone who changed your perspective, or a situation that forced you to rethink everything you took for granted. Jung called this synchronicity, a meaningful connection between events that seem unrelated. These experiences aren't mere coincidences. They're messages from your unconscious, signs guiding you toward discovering your true self. We all carry an inner voice that speaks to us in the most crucial moments. That voice that warns you when something's off or pushes you toward the unknown, even when it doesn't seem logical. Often we ignore this intuition because it doesn't fit with what the outside world tells us is right. But disconnecting from our essence is the root of many of our inner conflicts. When we ignore our intuition, we don't just miss opportunities, we also drift away from our true nature. Life is full of choices. Some paths seem safer, well lit, and approved by those around us. Others are dark, uncertain, and fill us with fear. But Jung taught us that it's precisely on those unknown paths where we find our greatest growth. Darkness isn't something to fear. It's an invitation to explore what we've repressed or ignored within ourselves. We all carry a shadow, those parts of us we'd rather not see because they don't fit the image we want to project to the world. Ignoring that shadow doesn't make it disappear. On the contrary, it grows stronger, seeping into our relationships, decisions, and moments of greatest vulnerability. The shadow isn't our enemy, it's a part of us that needs to be integrated so we can live fully. Jung said the first step toward personal growth is facing our shadow and accepting what we find there. Have you ever felt that a person or situation completely drains you? You start with enthusiasm, full of energy, but after that interaction, you feel exhausted, as if something inside you was stolen. This isn't a coincidence. It's a sign that something in that relationship or situation isn't aligned with your truth. Letting this happen repeatedly sends a message to your unconscious. My needs don't matter, but your energy is sacred. Protecting it isn't selfish. It's an act of self-love and respect for yourself. Jung also showed us that not all relationships or connections are meant to last. Some ties simply don't resonate with our essence. And though we cling to them out of habit or fear, all we do is distance ourselves further from who we really are. Letting go isn't giving up, it's an act of courage. When you choose to release what no longer serves you, you make space for the people and experiences that truly align with you. We often sacrifice parts of ourselves to maintain relationships or meet external expectations. We mold ourselves, hide, adapt, all to be accepted. But this comes at a huge cost. It disconnects us from our authenticity. True relationships don't ask you to change who you are. They inspire you to be more yourself. If you've ever felt you had to betray your essence to keep a relationship, whether personal, professional, or even with yourself, it's time to reflect deeply. When you decide to let go of what doesn't resonate with you, something magical happens. Your energy shifts, your mind clears, and opportunities start appearing naturally. It's as if the universe responds to your choice to live in alignment with your truth. This process isn't always easy, but it's absolutely necessary if you want to live a full, authentic life. Throughout our lives, we face decisions that seem small, but have a profound impact on our existence. Every time you ignore that inner voice, that intuition telling you something's wrong, you're making a choice that pulls you away from your truth. Carl Jung taught us that intuition isn't a whim. It's a direct connection to the unconscious, the part of us that holds our deepest wisdom. Listening to it is an act of courage in a world that pushes us to live from reason and fear. Maybe you've been in situations where you felt something didn't fit. It could have been a relationship that looked perfect on the outside but left you empty inside, or a job that met society's expectations but left a void in your soul. Jung would say these experiences are signals, manifestations of a constant dialogue between your conscious and unconscious. When we ignore these signs, we disconnect not only from ourselves, but also from the purpose that gives meaning to our lives. The unconscious communicates with us in subtle but powerful ways. It doesn't use clear words. It speaks through symbols, dreams, emotions, and intuitions. Every time you feel discomfort, every time something inside you feels out of place, it's your unconscious talking, showing you there's something you need to see, accept, or change. But our tendency is to avoid these moments of discomfort because they force us to face what we'd rather ignore. Jung believed that difficulties, conflicts, and shadows aren't punishments. They're opportunities to grow. Every obstacle we face, every challenge that seems insurmountable, is really a doorway to a more authentic version of ourselves. But to cross that threshold, we need the courage to look within, to face our shadows, and to accept the parts of ourselves we've rejected for so long. The shadow, according to Jung, isn't something bad. It's simply a part of us we've repressed because it didn't fit the image we wanted to project to the world. It might be a fear, a desire, an emotion, or even a talent we've set aside. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. Instead, it shows up in our relationships, decisions, and the patterns that keep repeating in our lives. The shadow demands attention, not to destroy us, but to free us. Imagine for a moment what your life would be like if you chose to face your shadow instead of running from it. Think about the opportunities that could emerge if you had the courage to look at the parts of yourself that scare or unsettle you. Jung taught us that when we integrate our shadow, we not only clinging to the familiar might give us a false sense of security, but it robs us of the chance to discover our true potential. The unconscious, that part of us we often ignore, is always working to guide us toward a more authentic life. But answering its call requires silence, introspection, and the willingness to look within. We often get distracted by external noise, others' opinions, societal expectations, and fear of judgment. Yet when you let yourself tune out that noise, you start hearing a clearer, more authentic voice that's always been there. That voice guides you toward what truly matters. Jung said the purpose of life isn't to chase superficial happiness, but to find wholeness. And that wholeness is only possible when you reconnect, not with the mask you wear to fit in, but with your authentic self beyond expectations and conditioning. Think about it. How many times have you sacrificed parts of yourself to please others? How many times have you set aside your dreams because they seemed too big or impossible? These choices aren't mistakes, they're lessons. Every time you gave up something important to you, your unconscious took note. Not to punish you, but to remind you there's more waiting for you. Something you can only reach if you let go of fear and embrace your truth. The path to authenticity isn't linear. There will be moments of doubt, days when it feels like you're not moving forward. But even in those moments, you're planting the seeds of your transformation. Jung understood that chaos wasn't something to avoid. It's a necessary stage for growth. It's in the moments of greatest confusion that we get the chance to redefine ourselves, to rebuild from a stronger, more authentic foundation. Here's the key. Change doesn't happen on its own. It's the result of your daily choices, the small decisions you make to honor your truth. Every time you choose to listen to your intuition over your fears, you strengthen your connection to yourself. Every time you decide to let go of a relationship, belief, or habit that no longer serves you, you open space for something better to enter your life. This process doesn't just transform your inner world, it changes the outer one too. People who once felt distant start drawing closer. Opportunities that seemed impossible become reachable. And most importantly, you start feeling at peace with yourself. That peace isn't something you find outside. It's the result of living in alignment with who you truly are. When you choose to live in tune with your truth, the world begins to respond in unexpected ways. Jung deeply believed in the concept of projection, that everything we experience in the outer world reflects our inner world. The people we meet, the conflicts we face, even the successes we achieve are mirrors of our psyche. When you understand this, you start seeing the events of your life from a completely different perspective. It's easy to blame others or circumstances for the difficulties we face, but Jung invites us to look inward and ask, what part of me is contributing to this situation? This reflection isn't about finding fault. It's about reclaiming the power we often give away to the outside world. When you recognize you have control over how you react, interpret, and act in response to experiences, you become the creator of your reality. The emotional chaos we often feel as overwhelming is really an invitation to grow. It's how the unconscious shows us that something inside needs attention. Maybe it's a fear you've avoided for years, a wound you never healed, or a belief holding you back. Whatever it is, chaos isn't the enemy. It's the catalyst pushing you to transform your life. Jung said there's no awakening of consciousness without pain, but that pain isn't a punishment. It's the process needed to release what no longer serves you and make space for the new. Think of a seed breaking its shell to become a plant. That moment of rupture might seem harsh, but it's essential for growth. It's the same with us. Every time we face a difficult moment, we're being invited to break through our own barriers and bloom. This doesn't mean you should seek out chaos or pain on purpose, but when they come, and they always will, remember they're opportunities in disguise. They're moments asking you to reflect, learn, and move forward. Instead of resisting, let yourself explore what these moments have to teach you. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What part of me needs to transform? In this process, you're not alone. Jung emphasized the importance of connecting with what he called the self, that part of us in tune with something greater than our ego. This self is our inner compass, our link to the divine, the eternal, the infinite. It's from this place that we find the strength to overcome any obstacle and create a life that reflects our deepest truth. Authenticity isn't just a nice idea, it's a daily practice. It's choosing your truth in every decision, every interaction, even when it's uncomfortable or hard. It's having the courage to say no to what doesn't resonate with you, even if it means disappointing others. Because when you choose to be authentic, you're not just honoring your path, you're also giving others permission to do the same. Life has a beautiful way of rewarding this authenticity. Synchronicities become more frequent, opportunities align effortlessly, and the people who truly support you start showing up. This isn't magic. It's the result of living from a place of integrity and connection with yourself. When you align with your truth, the universe responds accordingly. Imagine for a moment what your life would be like if every decision you made was based on what you truly want, on who you really are, instead of what others expect of you. What could you achieve? What kinds of relationships could you build? What dreams could you make real? This is the power of living in tune with your essence. When you start living from your authenticity, something wonderful happens. The world that once seemed chaotic and confusing starts to make sense. Relationships that no longer added value fade away, making room for genuine, meaningful connections. Obstacles turn into lessons, and the opportunities you've always wanted begin to appear in your life. This isn't a change that happens overnight, but every small step you take toward your truth is an act of courage that transforms not only your reality, but also that of those around you. Carl Jung taught us that the journey to oneself is the deepest purpose we can have. This path isn't linear, it's full of challenges and moments of introspection. But in the end, the reward is priceless. A life where you wake up each day feeling whole, connected, and at peace with yourself. When you live from your authenticity, you don't just improve your life, you inspire others to do the same. That's the real magic. When you choose to be who you truly are, you create a positive impact that reaches far beyond you. Now I ask you, what part of yourself have you been ignoring? What relationships, beliefs, or fears do you need to let go of to live fully? Reflect on these questions and make a decision. Change starts with you, and every step you take is a declaration to the universe that you're ready to embrace your truth. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to be part of this collective transformation. Share this video with someone you feel needs it, someone searching for answers, needing a nudge to reconnect with their essence. Together, we can create a community that values authenticity, connection, and personal growth. Leave your comment below. Share what part of this message touched your heart, what discovery you've made, or what action you'll take to start living from your truth. Your words can inspire others also seeking clarity and purpose. Don't underestimate the impact you can have on someone who needs to hear this. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Click the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you don't miss our upcoming messages. Every time you engage with this content, whether by sharing, commenting, or liking, you're helping this message reach more people. Together, we can build a space where Carl Jung's ideas and reflections come to life, a space where we can learn, grow, and transform our lives. Thank you for being here, for listening, and above all, for being part of this movement. Remember, your path isn't a coincidence. Every step you take is guiding you towards something much bigger than you imagine. This is your moment. Embrace your truth and be the change in the world. See you in the next video.